Just gonna do a car review on this one because it doesn't come in digital. It's a long-awaited indie project, issue 1 of Reaper Destroyer, and then this supplemental book which has 2 other stories in it. And I was trying to think of, a different angle when you do a video on people's indie books or any book that is. I think the main kind of theme to this video is that supplemental stories that come along with an indie book are such a great idea. And I know they cost more money, and I think it depends on what someone crowdfunds. If it dictates whether they can have supplementals or not. And I remember when this book originally came out on its crowdfunding, an initial campaign, it done really well. I think it was nearly like $80,000 or something like that. So there was clearly some money there to bring in some other creators and do the supplemental stories. And I have to say, I think it's added so much to the lore and the world building of this story. And yeah, it's just added so much. And like, the first time I came across supplementals was when I backed Graveyard Shift, and there was all these extra stories in there. And like, I it's not that I prefer the supplemental stories, but I do find there's a bit more room. There's no pressure on the supplementals to be a specific thing. Like for example, like issue 1 of Reaper Destroyer, there's probably a lot of boxes that you have to check. You have to establish who the heroes are, who the villains are, all this type of stuff. And whereas with the supplemental, it's like you can kind of just pull out one character and do 10 pages, 12 pages, whatever it is, and just flesh that character out a bit more. Now, as far as my reaction to this book, I love the artwork. I have to say, really took me back to I think the creator, Joe Sontag. He's big Silvestri fan, so I definitely got a buzz off that, with the kind of like the Darkness, Cyber Force, all those different books like that I used to love when they came out. I guess probably my only criticism is like, there's some cool designs in this of some of the villains, and I think the Reaper Destroyer character, there's an influence of the Darkness. I think there's another indie project out there called Death Shroud, and there could be another one. So there's a few of these characters that kind of have this look about them, they're different, but it does remind me a lot of the Darkness. And I guess that's probably my biggest criticism. What I wasn't expecting, what I really enjoyed, probably the main thing I enjoyed, was the book kind of establishes different groups. So you have these, they're called was it the Elder Sons? Is that what they're called? I'm trying to remember all this stuff here, but I think it's the Elder Sons. And essentially, they're trying to resurrect this ancient kind of entity. Her name is Vanessa. And then you have the Reaper Destroyer, which is armor, and trapped inside of it is this guy called Matt. There's not really a lot of information about him, which I was surprised with. I thought you would get a lot about him, as in like he was the hero, but there's way more about this other entity. There's kind of like, there's a man and an entity trapped in this armor, and the entity is called Apophis. Now, when I had finished reading this book, and when I'd finished reading the supplemental, the character I liked the most was Apophis. And I'm not sure if that's intentional. He says in the supplemental, and I love the artwork in the supplemental as well on the Apophis story, but he says here, so it's like he was betrayed, and he talks about a time before time. I was once commanded by the Divine One himself. I carried out my orders with pleasure. Then everything changed. The Elder Sons took control of the world. They elevated themselves above that of even the angels. They started using us for their own means. We became slaves to a prideful race that cared not for the order of things. So he's kind of like this. I guess he's like an evil character that was trapped by another kind of, I guess, evil group, and now he's trying to get his revenge. And like in the story, obviously he's turned up on Earth. It doesn't really go into that. Like, he kind of hints that all these wheels have been set in motion a long time and stuff like. But I think I found that character the most interesting, probably because there's the most stuff about him. There's even a really great scene where it seems like the main character Matt has control of this Reaper Destroyer armor, and it's only if he allows Apophis to take control that it's almost like the Reaper Destroyer is at its full power. Like, and like there's an amazing fight scene where they come across this character with a really cool name. I have to say, I really like the name, the Necro Mimic, and it looks cool. And it's only when, so the Necro Mimic kind of kicks the Reaper Destroyer's ass when Matt is in control. But then it's almost like Matt kind of takes a backseat after he gets like this huge blade through his chest, and he kind of goes off into almost like, I don't know, like another realm. Like he's not present anymore, and that's when Apophis takes over, and like he summons the big huge blade, and you know, kills the this creature, the Necro Mimic. That was a really cool scene. Like, but yeah, I guess there's just there's a lot of different players, a lot of different characters, a lot of it's been set up, and I'm just interested to see where it's gonna go after this. Like, who is it gonna be clear as in who's the protagonist? Like, you know, who are we cheering for here? I'm not really too sure who we're cheering for, but like a really enjoyable book, and I'm delighted I backed it. Like, it was, I did have to wait a long time for it. I think I was one of the last people probably to receive a copy because I'm like an international backer outside of the US. Like, but yeah, I unfortunately probably have to wait another 2 or 3 years for this for the second issue. If I don't know, I think it just goes back to the same thing. Like, I know a lot of creators out there, like, this is a side thing, and they're also trying to promote. I know the creator of this book does a lot of YouTube, and it's benefited him, and it's just hard, I think, to find all that time. I think this is long. I think the second issue is launching. I got an email the other day, I think in September, but yeah, look, I don't know how long it's gonna take for the second issue to come out. But if you haven't backed this first one and the second one comes out, I do recommend backing it and picking up. I'm sure there'll be copies of issue 1 available on one of the tiers that's gonna be in the campaign. But anyway, look, I've talked long enough. Yeah, great stuff. Really enjoyed it.